Court Weekly. I am Center Court, joined today by Frank Wolf and special guest. First time we've had a special guest this year. Canisius coach Kyle Husband is here to join us. Talk a little high school hoops, talk a little Valentine's Day tradition in the Husband household. We want to thank our sponsors that make this possible: Empire Electric, Logistics Plus, Binghamton.
Yeah, it's college.
Binghamton College.
Yeah.
Just said Binghamton. Yes, of course. I thought the city was sponsoring.
I figured Binghamton
They got
followed
the
up.
state championships. Now they're ready to sponsor the show.
I mean, right next to it is Damon, so I figured you put two and two together. You'd realize.
Fine learning institution that is a college in Binghamton, Damon, and Cha-Cha Attorneys in Hamburg.
Cha-cha.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Welcome in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. What are you doing tonight? What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Not sure yet.
All right.
See what the missus wants to do.
Cool.
um,
Frank, what direction are you taking us to start the day?
well, I wanted to recap last week and save the Valentine's Day stuff for the end of the show,
Sounds great.
second or third segment.
All right.
Ask about your birthday dinner last week. Who paid? Who didn't pay?
Okay.
Who tipped?
Very good.
All that stuff.
Got all those answers.
I hope so. But I definitely wanted to, at some point, introduce the people to. Your name was the best coach in Western New York. I know, Kyle Husband.
Again, thanks for having me. Psyched. Let's talk some hoops.
Yes, that's what Chad does, and I kind of just take up space in this room for the next hour. But Chad wanted this low-key, non-stressful style show from the beginning. He didn't want someone with the hard-hitting. He didn't want Larry King. You didn't want Larry King.
Larry King. I just
Really? Rich Eisen? You didn't want like a tough Scott Van Pelt type?
I didn't want anybody that made me feel like I had to be too appropriate at every turn. You know, I wanted to just be a little more laid back. Like if you know, I've got a few friends in the high school basketball world that I chat with. You know, I want to be a little more just casual. Like if you were calling me and caught me at 1:00 at home and said, "Hey, where are you going tonight?" and that's what I wanted to come off to. Like you had my phone number and we were just talking hoops.
And after you went through all the resumes, you settled on me.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Because you're
Impressed.
kind of a goofball like myself.
I like that. I don't know if we want to dive right into Canisius Joe's,
Well, then start with where you want to start.
where you were last week. Let's
So I left this office last week,
Yes.
and I headed to Curry's, which I always do, and then I made my way to South Buffalo. Canisius was at Timon, a team that had beat them by 24 points in round one, and I was there for the rematch. It was a game with big stakes on the line, and you could quickly get the sense when the game started that this was Canisius's night, and that's how it turned out. Canisius came away with, I don't remember the exact margin. I think it was 19-20, but it was a game controlled by the Crusaders pretty much throughout. It was a very opposite tone to the first game. I mean, similar in that, you know, you felt like the game was going one way throughout. It was just in someone else's favor this time. Nick Purdy had himself a moment, a career-high 38 points in that night, and right from the beginning of the game, he was just different. He was kind of quietly on his own mission, and it was working out great for him. Does that sound about what you remember from a week ago?
Absolutely. Hopefully Nick plays like that tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think we need them. I don't think he needs to score 38 again. But you know, he was unselfish. He rebounded. He guarded. He was a great all-around player last Friday night, and he showed it.
So that was my Friday. That was a good Friday. I love a Friday in South Buffalo, my last of the season, because there won't be any playoff games there. There's no more big games calling me back there, but thanks to everybody for being so gracious at that school once again this year.
Do you think anybody stopped by Minio's on the way over for that $1 off pizza
Oh, yeah.
special?
Oh, yeah. There's probably at least
I didn't get
4
a bad.
people.
I didn't get a nasty tweet or text message from the owner, so
They didn't tell you that you owed him $5?
he didn't. Not yet. I'm sure that's coming though. So you did time in Canisius,
Yep.
and you mentioned Purdy. Was there anything else in that game or atmosphere? Is that? I mean, well, we got a call by the way from Matt Weiser. He wants us to come and stream there.
Well, I did talk to him
You did.
on your
So,
behalf when
thank
I
you.
got there, and
Yeah.
they've made significant Wi-Fi improvements, and he was excited that you were eager to come there, and he seemed very down
WNY
for it
Athletics.
and welcoming. Yeah, and let's
Yeah.
bring you in, maybe get a reverse angle and show the world the Timon experience.
Yeah, that would be sweet. What's your experience like as a coach in that atmosphere? Like, what's your takeaway of playing in that gym? It's far different from playing at Canisius.
Without a doubt. And I said it before. I said it Thursday to the team. It's probably my favorite venue to play in. It's one of my favorite games a year. The crowd's great. Their student section is fun, entertaining. They're into the game. They know what's going on.
They seem to know you.
They do. They love calling me out. I mean,
Ayo.
it's been a lot of years. Listen, that type of stuff, you can complain about it, the size of it, the how rowdy they can be, or you can embrace it and enjoy it. And that's the route I always go.
If they know your name, Kyle, you know you're doing something right.
Probably doing something right.
Have you ever shown up to a gym, not Canisius, and they had a cutout of your face?
I don't think so. Let's not give any ideas.
Chad?
Yes, that's happened to me.
It happened to Tim, too.
Has it?
You know,
The first time it happened was at Newfane. I showed up for a game at Newfane, and they had a reserve spot for me, and there was food waiting for me, and there was a big cutout of my head sitting at center court. And the next time I saw it was also Newfane. They were at Buff State, and all of a sudden I look up in the student section on the baseline, and there's a guy waving on a stick, a giant cutout head of myself.
Was it the same one?
Probably, yeah.
He took the first one home.
It's over the mantle. It's probably over his bed. That's for another show. All right, cool. Yeah, I have the same thoughts. Do you go into? I mean, really, there's not a lot of other barns like Timon in Western New York.
Now, there used to be one on Delaware Avenue that they played in until they closed it up after 2009.
So, yeah.
Opened the field house.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's cool. And any idea what your overall record is there?
Not a clue. Nope.
At time,
Chad, do you know what his overall record is? You would know.
I could get that information
have it
really
somewhere.
quick. Yes,
Yeah.
I do have it somewhere. I know
Did
where
any
to
of
find it.
our friends from the Southern Tier come up for that game?
For the Timon game?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
I wonder who traveled the furthest to see that one. I know.
Well, yes, they did. Our friends from, yes.
Okay.
George Benson was front row.
Didn't he have to bring you a cooler?
John Allen, I brought him a cooler.
You brought him the cooler. Okay.
Yep.
Was there anything in the cooler when you dropped it off to him?
There was nothing in the cooler when I picked it up. There may or may not have been something left in the cooler when I put it in his trunk.
All right.
Yes.
That's a good friend.
Right.
All right, cool. I wonder who puts the most miles on their car outside of Chad.
Probably George.
Do you think it's George?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of driving.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, if you're
George-
coming from a great distance to get to games on the regular, you're going to be a leg up on all you lucky folk that hail in Erie County somewhere and are somewhat central.
Talking more about basketball, it's a basketball show. Any top performers last week that caught your eye, whether in person or you read about in the paper or saw online? Anybody stand out?
Well, certainly the Purdy show was
From Friday.
it stood out on Friday. On Monday night, I went to Lockport at Orchard Park, and I thought Charlie Croft had another one of his Charlie Croft games where he was just smooth throughout the game, doing everything right, efficient, highly efficient. He was a standout to me in that game against a good opponent in Orchard Park. They made Orchard Park look pretty pedestrian the way that they executed and took charge of that game. The next night I was down in Olean. Dominic Giovine, kid who came over from France, plays at Olean this year. He's a big guy. He's a very steady, plays about the 4 position for him. Smooth inside, doesn't miss. He's pretty automatic with his rebounds and putbacks. Michael Rivera had a nice game, helped close things out there. Wednesday night, there was really not a lot going on. The game that I was going to got postponed to tonight, so I was going right back up to the Southern Tier to watch Limestone again at Fredonia, but that game got postponed. And then, where did I go last night? Oh, Hamburg. Hello.
I was
Yeah.
there. I was about to answer for you.
Yeah, so I'll let you tell. You can tell him the standout that we got to watch last night, if you're thinking of the same one I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know how I couldn't be. I mean, Drew Hines, a heck of a player. Saw him at Chad's event a couple weeks ago and was super impressed with that game in general. Fun. It was back and forth. It was physical, and he was terrific. And the role players were as well. And then I saw that this one was on the schedule. I live in Hamburg. My son plays on the modified team, so I scheduled practice around it so I can go catch this one. We scrimmaged Hamburg earlier in the year, so I got a chance to watch Randolph play again. And obviously he was great again last night. But that team in general is they execute the heck out of their offense. They play tough on D. All their role players know their roles. I mean, it's a fun team to watch. Coach does a tremendous job, and I mean, the Hine kid's definitely one of the best kids around. He was great.
Yeah, he was spectacular last night. He was raining 3-pointers. They were all contested looks. The kind of shots that I don't think very many players have that green light to take, and he was taking them without hesitation. But you could tell, if you've watched enough Drew Hine like I have, you knew that was his shot, and that's why there was no hesitation. And they all just dropped through the net, like, perfectly. Yeah, he really shot the ball well last night. But he doesn't force anything at all. And like, I knew that he was approaching 2,000 coming into the game. He needed 24 points. He finished with 29, achieved his milestone of 2,000 points, and I was grateful to be there to watch it. But as he approached that, he wasn't pressing to get his points. He didn't gloat and celebrate after he got it. He just got right back on defense. They didn't stop the game. They made no fanfare of it other than me being there to shoot a video of it. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, before he got his 2,000th, because you filled me in on how far he was away, I mean, there was about a 4-minute stretch where he didn't even shoot the ball. He was making the right play. Again, the teammates around him were making shots as well. But to your point, he just didn't force it.
Well, he was in a position where he's about to get it, and I know it. So now I'm videoing every offensive possession for Randolph, and I had to dump a lot of footage when I was all done. Like, wow, I took a lot of video. So you're right. He was and you talked about the Randolph offense and just how well they execute and everyone knowing their roles. How about number 10 last night, Griffin Nelson? Now, there's a 3-year starter, but he's a defensive specialist, and he is outstanding defensively, but he was getting open layups through the offense and finishing off drives. The kind of play, it just looked so easy, but it was set up by his intelligence within the offense to know right when to take those back doors.
Without a doubt. I mean, between him and Hine, they must have had 8 backdoor layups, a couple fake handoffs for layups, and they both knocked down, a whole bunch of threes. I mean, the two of them went back and forth. He was terrific as well.
I was going to ask you, after your tournament, after the showcase, if you will, how much better has a team like Randolph gotten since that game? Or other teams that had participated, have you noticed any of them have stepped up their game since playing in that CENTERCOURT Classic?
I noticed that Akron stepped up their game at that CENTERCOURT Classic, and I think that I would expect there to be a carryover effect from it. I could say the same about St. Joe's. I think that they really played their best basketball that night, and they beat a really good Jamestown team, one of the top 2 public schools in Western New York. They beat them by 20 and made it look very efficient. And it wasn't, Jamestown left that night saying, we're going to be better because of this. We needed that. That was a comment that I heard when Jamestown was leaving. A couple years ago, Randolph went on to win a CENTERCOURT Classic, a state championship after the CENTERCOURT Classic. And I'm not saying that it's fun to say it, but I know really that it's more about the team and everything that they work toward, and I would be arrogant to think, oh, my event propelled them anywhere. I know that's not the case, but if anybody comes up, and you should use anything like that, my showcase, any event you're in, any opportunity to step on the floor to make yourself better.
Well, it is the case because the matchups you put together are some of the best around. It's something that we were talking about before the show, Frank. When you can play those contested games and push yourselves to find that next tier, you're going to be better for it, whether you win or lose.
'Cause-
And I wish more teams did it consistently. And your showcase, your event brings that out of both teams.
Because your ride the rest of the season won't get any easier, especially when you're in those top teams. The competition is just going to get better and better as you go. You know that, and the team that you may, if you get through the Monsignor Martin, who you face downstate or from downstate, you have to be at the top of your game. And what better way than to play someone that's better than you, or maybe plays a different style that you're used to, just to kind of loosen
From another league, a team that makes you uncomfortable, a
Yeah.
team that you are not the favorite going into, a team that you are the favorite going into, but is capable of beating you. All of those are circumstances
Yeah.
that I think kids need to face, and adversities. You sign up for adversity in the regular season so that it's not a culture shock when it's happening in the postseason. And I think there's too many times where a team takes the opposite approach and says, I got to make sure we get our 18 wins every year. That might be a coach that is chasing some magical number or his own legacy or what it is, and so he plays a bit of a cupcake schedule or makes it look like he's putting together. I schedule some tough competition, and you're like, yeah, but you don't. You schedule competition that looks good, but you're going to beat. And then there's other coaches that just say, let's sign up for that adversity. Let's take it. I don't care if we're 9-11 going into the postseason, as long as we're winning a title at the end of the year.
That's my last question before we go to a break here. Then for you, how do you see Akron finishing up the season?
I still think Akron's in a crowded room in Class B1. I do. I think that they have as good a shot as any team in that classification this year, but I don't see them as that's the team that's going to win it, and I don't see them as I don't think they're going to win it for this reason. I think it's just a lot going on in that bracket.
Yeah.
You've got Fredonia, who is a middle-of-the-pack team in their league right now.
Starting to play much better than they were at the beginning of the year.
And just watching Fredonia, having seen both teams, I think that's a pick'em game between them and Akron.
Yeah.
It would be. Middle College, look what they're doing in Yale Cup 2 right now. They got a win over McKinley. I watched them bury East. They just knocked off MST by 20, who's been a good team. I mean, you know a couple of guys that play at MST. Hailey Doucette, who was at Canisius. Brandon Singletary, who was a freshman at Park last year. Got a couple other guys, too. There's some talent at MST, and Middle College beat them by 20. It's because Middle College knows exactly who they are right now. They've come into their own. They have played an adverse schedule this year. They've had guys in and out of the lineups. I would not want to play the Cats in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play the Tigers in the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching The View from Center Court Weekly on Western New York Athletics.
Need an electrician? Empire Electric is your residential wiring specialist. New builds, service upgrades, lighting, generators, you name it, Empire does it with hundreds of 5-star reviews that speak for themselves. Call Empire Electric today for your free estimate.
Education has power. Binghamton University students discover it, apply it, unleash it. Unleash your education today.
We're back. Center Court Weekly. Center Court, Frank Wolf today, joined by special guest Kyle Husband. Happy Valentine's Day, Kyle.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks to Empire Electric, Binghamton, the college, for their amazing sponsorships. Logistics Plus, Cha-Cha Attorneys, Damon.
You're still yelling. You're yelling right into the mic. You're yelling.
I'm yelling.
Yeah.
I'm getting fired up. You know why I'm getting fired up?
Joe's Canisius, possibly Curry's, German potato salad.
It's a fun time I've come into. I was getting excited before I left my house. I start talking to myself, and that's how I know I'm getting excited. I actually announced out loud how the rest of my day was about to unfold, and it sounded fantastic.
Most of our audience knows who Kyle is, but we're going to introduce him anyways. Kyle Husband's the head coach of the Canisius Crusaders. How many times have you guys won titles under your watch?
I think it's 10.
10.
You won in 2005? Yeah, so that would be 10. Nine since I've been watching you.
How many state titles?
3.
You guys have rings made for those?
We have. Yep.
You ever bring them around, wear them around? Would you wear them to the Joe's sideline tonight?
No,
Is that disrespectful or showing off, or it's just not in you?
that's just not in me. Nope.
Have you ever seen a coach walk around with championship rings
Yeah.
when they're playing you?
I don't think so. I don't pay that close attention, though, to be honest with you.
I just wonder if like a coach comes in with like a championship ring or 4, and you're playing them, and like you got the upper hand that night, and you just we're not taking the foot off the gas. We're burying this.
Kyle
that
keeps
night.
glancing.
You will
over.
never wear those rings in this gym again.
Doing this move. Happy Valentine's Day.
Very good. Cool. How long have you been at Canisius? Talk about how you got that job. What led you to Canisius, and just your time there so far, and all the. Sum it up into some of the more positive memories that you've had there.
Yeah, this is my 21st season as head coach, 24 altogether. When I got done playing and done with school, I came back and started working with Tom Keenan, who I played for. Was with him for 2 seasons, and then unfortunately he got ill, and they hired Ben Vittori for a year. I stayed on with him, and then I was fortunate enough to be trusted with the job at a young age. Got the job then.
How old were you when you got the job?
25.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the state of the program when you took over?
Remember
those early days?
Yeah, a little bit. We won it our first year, and we were kind of working towards that season. A group of those players, Nick Kanai and Bobby Bevilacqua and others, they were young guys on the team, and they started playing when they were sophomores when I was an assistant coach. So that first year, I was obviously really fortunate to have tons of talent and win right out of the chute.
Since you've been there, I mean, is the rivalry different with Joe's in terms of basketball and football? I mean, you're on the basketball side of things, but you go to the football games too. What's the difference between the hockey games, between the schools, the football games, and the basketball? Do you see a difference?
I don't see much.
What's
of
it
a
like at the
difference.
school on those days?
Yeah, I mean, excitement. I mean, the kids they still understand the rivalry, and they're still pumped, and they understand the history and how important it is. I don't think the turnout from a student section is quite like it used to be in general at any of the sports or any of the games. But if there's one that brings it out, it's certainly Canisius Joe's.
Yeah. You have young children.
I do. Yeah.
Do you bring them into the St. Joe's gym tonight? And what's their take of being like your son, or what's he saying to you after the game?
Can we get chicken fingers?
Probably.
German potato salad from Curry's.
If there's one game that he wants to go to, it's tonight. But he knows that it's going to be, the crowd's going to be great. We'll probably try and sneak into that student section a little bit. So yeah, they'll all be there. They'll be, they're excited for this one just like anyone is.
How do you sleep the night before a game like that? Or is it just another game to you?
It's another game. I mean, it's been a long time. Come playoff time,
You've
I
faced
think
them
it
50,
changes a little
60
bit.
times by now.
Yeah. Yep. At least 50. During the regular season, I think you're trying to figure each other out. You're seeing who's got the energy. You're trying to make adjustments. I think come playoff time, things, the stakes are certainly different. Maybe I still get a little bit more anxious, but today you just got to enjoy it. Just be ready. You kind of already did the work. Now see where we stack up. Let's learn from this one.
Would you say that the Joe's game is the game you get up for more than, if you had to say, if there's a team you get up for more than any, could you honestly say that it's the Joe's game or the Timon game, or is there another team out there that you just really enjoy playing this team or going up against that coach? Could you say who are the favorite coaches you love matching up with and teams you
How many
really
questions
get up for?
in a question?
There's about 7 questions in there.
Man.
I think it's year to year.
Okay.
Whoever the best teams are
Yeah.
on our schedule are the most fun. So obviously Joe's and Timon recently have been great rivalries. I mean, I love that back and forth. I love the competition. That's one of the main reasons why I'm still doing it. So I think it's different every year. But games like today, I think, are sometimes the easiest ones to coach because the energy's already in the building.
Yeah.
And I don't have to pump up.
There's no Herb Brooks speeches.
Yeah, I mean,
Versus like a Tuesday night, we're going to play the last place team. We're in first.
Those
We're
are hard.
we're rolling. We're on the road. Yeah, I got you.
you don't want to let down. You still want to learn. You still want to get better. You still want to play good basketball. But again, today you almost want to settle everyone down a little bit today.
Well, I was thinking when you said, "Yeah, I'll come on today," I thought that was a good approach. I would want to take that too, because that way you're not, your phone's not. You get a good hour to just do that. Yeah, I'll go do that. Take my mind off other things, and what else am I going to do?
Yeah,
go to the gym early and pace around.
I could be working.
Right. This is work.
Yeah.
Who are the coaches now, and maybe have since retired, that you enjoyed working against? Are there some coaches that you'd want to just call out and just, you really had a good relationship and enjoy the back and forth?
It's funny, the St. Joe's rivalry. I mean, especially in my early days, Mark Simon and myself became really good friends. We used to go out to dinner, many times right before our games. Not right before the game, but the night or two prior. And then you guys know Gabe and myself were very close. And he worked with me my first year, 2005. So the last few years going against him was his dad would call either the day or the day before, telling he's not rooting for anybody. And now Cooper's picked right up. So I mean that for being a rivalry that's can be contentious between the two schools, I've always had a really good relationship with the head coach there, and I'll always cherish those.
Is it tough when you got a team that you really want to beat, but you really like their coach? Like I think about the really good Park team, and Rich Jacobs, their coach, and I mean I know you liked Rich, and everyone liked Rich Jacob, but you want to beat that team so bad. And
I mean,
it's easier if you hate the head coach of the opponent.
I don't think so. When that ball gets tossed up, it's game time. I don't care who it is. You just want to win. You want to work hard, and you want to get your guys doing the right thing and playing the right way. So I mean, I enjoy having a friendly relationship, but once the ball's thrown up, I don't care.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
A couple of weeks ago, you guys beat St. Joe's last possession type thing. You guys hit a 3-pointer. Was it?
It was Purdy.
Purdy.
Big shot Purdy from the corner, assist from Patrick Cullinan.
So you beat St. Joe's, a game you guys were trailing. Late in the game, come back and pull that one out. And then you play Timon the following Saturday, and they beat you by 20. You get revenge a couple weeks later, last week. What did you say to your team after the Timon loss? And what was the build-up before that game? What were practices like? What were you working on? Here again, 20 questions. But people want to know, what did you take from that first loss? What did you recognize? And how were you able to turn that around in the games and practices leading up to the rematch with Timon?
Well, coming off of the Joe's win, where, if you watch it back, they really outplayed us for over 3.5 quarters. We just made 3 threes when it mattered the most, and they missed a couple of opportunities. So that's just how small, winning and losing can be, at the highest level in our league. And then coming off that, we had exams, so we had some days off, and our next game was a week later, Timon, and we just, in my opinion, weren't in a great headspace. Maybe we thought we were a little better than we were. And I think that game, and there's always a game or two like that, and unfortunately they're usually losses, where you can kind of refocus and redial in and learn from it. So we watched that game. We watched, a lot of the mistakes we made. We watched our energy. And, I think our practices and I think our mindset ever since then has been very different. So, the game itself was helpful. You don't want to lose those, especially by that margin. But, I think we've been a different team since.
Do you think having mom prom the night before a game is a good thing for the kids?
Who keeps bringing this up? Ricotta? or Dyrick. I don't know. No, I don't think it matters much.
Oh, I just think it's hilarious. Mom prom. Did I give you my concept for mom prom? Instead of having to go with your mom, you get to pick someone else's mom to
that
go to
could
mom
create
prom.
a lot of
with.
issues, a lot of problems.
Not sure that would help team chemistry.
No,
No.
not at all. A lot of transfers next year. A lot of transfers. Who on your team? I mean, we know a lot of the guys. You mentioned Purdy's name, but Jaden Clark, Cullen Inns, and Patrick Enright. Who was the most vocal in the locker room after the Timon loss, would you say? And who is that guy in your locker room that when his guy is talking, everyone listens? Do you have that guy, or is there multiple guys?
Yeah, I think that's multiple guys this year. And it's funny, every team, every season is different when it comes to that. Sometimes you have one guy who just, is loud and talkative and always gets the guys going. This is a little bit from everybody. I do think when, the two football guys talk, just because of their work ethic and how much they bring and kind of how under the radar they are with Jaden Clark and Pat Enright. When those two bring it up another level, I really think everyone kind of follows it. I mean, obviously Pat Cullen and Nick Purdy are quote unquote basketball guys, but those two leaders, and you saw it on the football field, obviously, and now even on the basketball court, like those two guys are different.
I would have guessed Jaden Clark, and I was wondering about Enright because Enright is somebody to me who he carries himself in a way that you might not think it, but a guy like that who carries himself the way Pat does generally, when he turns it up, it's going to get your attention because Pat's getting animated. And
when he's playing at his best, we're at our best.
I agree.
Yeah, he's got the right energy, the right attitude, and ever since that time in game, we've been different. He's been different.
I told a lot of people that Patrick Enright was going to be a very good basketball player for you guys this year, and definitely there was some of that simple argument back, like, the football player, and I think it's absolutely stood to be the case for Canisius basketball that Pat Enright's a difference maker for you guys.
I would say that I said this all throughout football season and basketball season, but in Western New York, when you think of the top athletes, I gotta believe most think the same way I am, is that Jaden Clark might be the area's top athlete. He's in the discussion, and I say that because he's playing at a Canisius private school. You're playing the top competition almost week in, week out in football, playing the best teams. You go all around the Northeast, play the top football talent in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York State with St. Francis, and Joe's got much better. Jaden Clark, dominant on the football field. Can't take that away. And then basketball, the way the kid runs the floor, the way he operates, playing against the top competition, again, he never does. He's not going to drop 40 points. He's not going to score 5 touchdowns a game. He's not going to rush for 300 yards. But what he does on the field, you have to game plan. If you're the opposing coach, this is the guy that you're really looking at. You have to game plan against. They don't talk about him enough in the state, but he might be our best athlete in the area.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you watch him play football. I'll start there. And when he's on defense, every single play.
Exactly.
I don't care where the ball's thrown or where it's ran. He's in the play. And now you get to the basketball court. I mean, he plays point. He's unselfish as you can get. He guards the other team's best player, no matter who it is, every single game. And I don't ever have to take him off the floor. And I don't care what happens to him. He gets hit, bumped, nothing. Nothing phases him. He is one tough son of a gun, and really underrated, and a terrific basketball player.
Yeah. Any idea what he wants to do next year at the next level? Because, I mean, he's a very humble individual.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't, I don't know what he plans on doing at the next level. If he wants to play basketball, if he wants to play football, I don't hear about all the offers. You see him all the time on Twitter. A bunch of other Canisius kids, you see these offers. I'm almost tired of seeing the offers for some kids. But Jaden, I never hear anything, and this is the kid I would want to start my program with.
He definitely wants to play football, and I just think he knows how to put things in perspective. And right now it's school and basketball, and I think when the time comes, he's going to go through the opportunities he has and make a really good decision for himself.
You guys are going to lose a quality individual. You're going to lose a lot of them, and Patrick Enright's another one.
Our senior class across the board
Yeah.
is top notch.
Yep.
I mean,
And they got those guys at Joe's too. They've got those kids. Brock, who doesn't see a lot of floor time, but
Yep.
Peyton Brock is an upstanding young man too. He's a great kid. But more on this game tonight.
I think my first, if you would have said who's the best two-sport athlete, and I like everything we just said about Jaden Clark, and I think that's great. If you were just asking me, I would have thought my knee-jerk would have been Justice Kleitz from Iroquois, who was a great quarterback and enjoying a great basketball season until he got injured. Hopefully he comes back here by the end of the year. Dislocated an elbow.
Yeah, he's in that, and he's got a whole nother year to go.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of watching Justice on the football field. I haven't seen Jaden Clark play football, so I know I'm aware of how good of a football player he is, and I see what he does for you in the
I was gonna
basketball
ask Tim.
court. I wouldn't have.
Only because you brought Justice's name up. Has anyone thrown for 5,000 yards? We've had quarterbacks throw over 5,000 yards in a season. Maybe. That kid might be the first one if we haven't.
I
That's
don't think so.
5,000 is a lot. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
There's
think-
kids that
I
throw
think-
300, 400, 500 yards a week.
I think that the local record is in the 3,000s.
Is it? Okay. Well, Kleitz might get 5. You were saying?
someone should find this out.
Just numbers, right? 10
Tweet at us.
500 yards a game, 10 games of 500 yards. That's absurd production.
Have you seen their schedule? No offense. They got a schedule he could throw for.
I watched him play South Park this year. It was not a favorable game for him.
Unfortunately, no. Well, a kid did run for 500 yards or more in that game. Anyways, you were saying this game tonight. Well, I'm asking you
Yes.
in front of the coach here. What kind of game are people? We're going to see a great game, similar to what we saw about 3 weeks ago. But in your eyes, in a new gym, what do you expect St. Joe's to do tonight at 6:30 against Canisius? No
Right.
JV to start. No.
Right. By the way, that game is 6:30. Everybody gets to watch it. First, we got to put that out there. It's long sold out, and if you're lucky enough to be inside that gymnasium tonight, lucky you, it's going to be awesome. If you're not, get to WNY Athletics YouTube page promptly at 6:20, because we're going to go live a few minutes early and have a little bit of pregame talk, but I'll be on the play-by-play call. Empire Electric sponsorship makes this whole thing possible. It's the CENTERCOURT game of the week, and it is available to all of Western New York for free, Western New York Athletics YouTube. So, what do I expect? I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, the best one I've experienced at St. Joe's this year, and I've been part of a couple good atmospheres in that gym. I think it's very, almost too over the top at the beginning, and you could either see a team grab a quick lead and go out on a quick run and grab some immediate momentum, or you could see the opposite and see a couple bad shots and long rebounds and unsettled offensive possessions to start. I don't know which way it starts in that regard, but I think that when Kyle is mentioning I don't need to do much to get the kids pumped up, I think there's going to be so much hype and adrenaline in the gym. You really don't know what it looks like when it starts, other than it's awesome.
Kyle, what are you expecting out of St. Joe's today? What are you preparing for?
I mean, just their talent level is so high, so we just have to make the shots that they take as difficult as possible. They've got so many different places that they can score from, inside, out. Every single one of the guys can score from the perimeter. So again, we just have to make it difficult.
How surprised would you be to see this game come down to a last possession?
I mean, hopefully that's the way it is. I mean, I can't see either one of these teams blowing each other out at this point in the season. Early on, you never know what can happen, but either team can get hot, though, that's for sure. Especially them, the way they have so many they have multiple guys that can shoot the ball from the perimeter.
And they're good in they play so fast.
Yeah.
And if they're able to get comfortable playing fast and getting in transition, turning a couple long rebounds, getting going, that's where they get dangerous. A couple guys start bending rims. Everyone's
Yeah, I think that's
really
on
good.
us. Like we have to make sure we take good shots.
Yeah.
We take bad shots. That's long rebounds and turnovers, and they get on runs.
I mean, I certainly think that a pace that's fast would favor them more, and a pace that where the game slows down a little bit is you guys taking good shots and making sure you're always back defensively and making them work in half-court sets, and I think that's really the key to this game.
Any other big games tonight, Chad? I know you're going to be at this one, but is there another game or two that stands out tonight?
There probably are. I'll be totally honest about this. When I get so locked into a game like I am tonight, I kind of tune the rest of it out.
Okay.
And it's almost a pleasure to, at some point, open up Twitter again later that night and say, oh, look at all this. Look at all this that happened. Sometimes I just want to go home and watch a stream of another game, but tonight I'll be pretty locked into this game. I'm excited about
You're
it.
so locked into this game, you had no idea that the sectional championships for girls wrestling was going on at Sweet Home.
How about that? There's girls wrestling?
Yes.
Nice.
Second year. Maybe second or third year. Either way, it's going on at Sweet Home tonight. That's where I'll
They
be.
put on some pretty good MMA fights.
Yes, I'll be paying attention to the wrestling because I'm on the production end of things. But I'll have my phone out, tuned into WNY Athletics, and I'll be able to see a stream for free without paying for it. And I get to hear you and Ryan Mountain.
That's correct.
Could you get an interview with one of the coaches like halfway through, halfway through the
Halftime
game?
interview?
During the game,
During the game would
See if-
be probably annoying to them.
even if we have a
Sure.
headset for him.
Cooper's turn.
If I could get someone during the game, it would be I would get Dyrek off the Canisius bench. I'm sure he would
Okay.
be happy to oblige mid game. If I was like Dyrek, he would just come over and say, "We got a guard. We got a guard. I can't hear you. There's a lot going on in here." I think either of the coaches would be willing to jump on like for 60 seconds or less as they went to halftime, but
Okay.
that's up to them.
Yeah. One of these years, we got to mic up the coaches.
Well, I think they'd be down for that. That happened several years ago in a different production in a different way, and I think it was pretty cool. So that's you guys are right now. You're it. You're the source of high school basketball coverage and really sports coverage in general in this area for the high school kids.
Can we mic
Let's
up a
do
coach?
that. Absolutely. You
I'm asking Tim.
You got to find the willing participants, get the technology, do it right.
I don't know how to do that.
I think that'd be cool.
Okay, we'll try it. We're going to take a quick break, come back for Chad's 5 questions, but we got to be quick. 30-second timeout here? We do a 30-second timeout? He's
We need a spy mic on.
a lot of sure's.
Need an electrician? Empire Electric is your residential wiring specialist. New builds, service upgrades, lighting, generators, you name it, Empire does it with hundreds of 5-star reviews that speak for themselves. Call Empire Electric today for your free estimate.
Western New York Immediate Care. Since 2005, our hometown urgent care walk.
Need an electrician? Empire Electric is your residential wiring specialist. New builds, service upgrades, lighting, generators, you name it, Empire does it with hundreds of 5-star reviews that speak for themselves. Call Empire Electric today for your free estimate.
We're back on WNY Athletics. Oh, you're back.
I'm back. We're back on WNY Athletics. This is Center Court Weekly. Don't shout. Just be excited about what you're saying. So we gotta move quickly through this last segment because we started late today. So Tim's got someplace to be, and we gotta wrap this. So what do you got?
Well, 5 questions, 5 burning questions for Chad. He does this thing at the end of the games. You do your 5 questions with a certain player. Is it always the
Right.
top player of the game, your player of the game, or could it be a bench warmer?
It could be anybody, really. I've been picking usually a standout from the game, or, if you keep getting the same kid, you might want to go to somebody else who you think will just be a good interview, or, there's nothing.
You
no
could
rules
do
to it.
You could do 5 questions with Dean Adams or Nelson Adams,
Yeah.
who are not related, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta make it fun one time.
Dean told me he was a Philadelphia Eagles fan last week.
Oh, that's convenient.
We threw him out of the car.
I was a Philadelphia Eagles fan on Sunday. Let's go.
That might be it. 5 questions. How was your birthday dinner in Medina, and who paid, you or your wife?
So I paid for some of it, or we paid for some of it, because her money, my money, it's all our money.
That was 4
We
questions.
give each other an allowance. My mother paid for some of it because I had a gift certificate to it, so I kind of cheated that forward when the bill came to,
Sweet.
and we picked up the rest. Had a great time.
Who drove?
I did.
Did you? You don't let anybody drive you.
I like to drive.
Did you know this about
I like
Chad?
control of the wheel.
I know he's on the road a lot.
He doesn't let anybody drive.
Yeah.
Like anywhere?
I prefer to do the driving.
Okay. You get car sick?
I do get car sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last 5 players to hit 2,000 not named Hind. Can you do it?
The last 5 players to hit 2,000
Yes.
not named
Western New York high school boys basketball players to hit 2,000 not named Hind.
Let me try. Jaden Harrison, Jalen Duff,
We were there that night.
Jalen Bradbury.
Did you do that against Park or O'Hara?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Somewhat remember that.
Boy, there's 3. Greg Dolan and Dominic Welch.
Possibly. I don't have the information. I just wanted to
You
know
don't
if you
have the
knew.
answer?
No, I had no idea.
Well, there's
no-
5 guys who have gone over 1,000 not named Hinds since the
There could be 5 in between
2017
there.
season.
We don't even know.
That's
no idea.
That's the 8
Oh,
seasons worth of 2,000 point scores not named Hind.
I had to come up with these questions. I had like 12 seconds. Where was Nelson this week? Can you name all the places Nelson was at?
I didn't see Nelson this week, so he was nowhere that I was.
Okay. Wasn't in Hamburg.
No.
He wasn't in Salamanca or Olean.
I'm going to guess maybe Nelson was at the St. Mary's Nichols game. I'm guessing.
All right. Have you ever seen a team beat another by over 100 points?
Now, what makes you ask me this question?
I don't
Have I ever seen it? I don't think I have. I don't think I have.
I don't think those are the games he picks.
That's a good answer for that, and that's kind of what I was going to say, is that I just don't think that's one I would sign up to go to. I watched Wilson beat Roy Hart 114-52 when I was in high school.
Okay.
And that one really stood out to me because I had never seen a team score 100 points in a game, and they came out and were just lighting it up at an alarming pace, and I thought, I feel like they're going to score 100 tonight, and then they did, and then some. So that was neat.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in high school watching your team do it.
Yes. Dunk of the week. Was there a dunk of the week that you saw or heard about?
Did I see a dunk?
Want to
this
give
week?
anyone, young man, some props?
I don't think I saw any dunks this week.
Nobody
Unfortunately.
tweeted at you a dunk?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are slacking out there.
I know that dunk that Gooseby had at the Classic that's still a standout dunk.
That might be the top.
'Cause it didn't look like it was going to go down, and it went down.
You think you'll see one tonight?
I do.
I kind of hope not.
He hopes not, because
We
we're
don't
not
know
really
has to.
we're not really seeing
knows he-
Canisius dunk. There's
he has
3
to.
kids from Joe's who have been doing it on the regular. So
They've been talking about it at
I
school.
do
all
think
the-
we're going to see one tonight.
Okay. Very cool.
Sorry, Kyle.
Kyle is fine with it as long as they win.
Yeah.
Everyone gets in home
You
healthy.
just gotta, they dunk, you come back with a 3.
You could
That's how-
dunk all you want as
that's
long as
the
we win.
best remedy.
All right, good. I'm
Did we get through all 5?
actually it was about 9.
Oh, you had 9 questions?
Yeah, I can't ask you the
zeroed
last
in on
question right
5.
now.
Okay.
Maybe on WNO Athletics Plus. That's about it. That's where we'll get those questions. Anyways, I thought it was a great show. Informative having a coach here, Kyle Husband. Is he our first in-studio guest?
Sure, he sure is.
Oh, so special.
Wow. Who's going to follow up to this?
I don't know.
We've invited others. They stiffed us.
Yeah, you know who got to get in, who said he would like to come on and do it, and I'd love
Yeah,
to have him. He'd
Timon.
be fun as, Paul Crowley from Timon.
Timon.
Their PA guy.
Yeah. He's got an open invitation. We do this show every Friday.
Kyle, you're friends with him.
Yep, he's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Who's your PA
is a
guy, and
great
is he any
guy.
good?
Bryce? You've heard him once or twice.
Bryce actually getting better.
Yeah.
He grows
Really,
on
I
you.
agree with that.
He's gotten better.
He is an
Yeah.
outstanding PA.
Yeah. Yeah, I like him.
Passionate. He's a good guy to have to be part of your program.
You get
Without a
Mark
doubt.
Anzalone tonight.
Mark Anzalone's good.
Former standout at Blessed Sac.
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of people that do PA, and I think if a school has a good PA, it enhances the experience.
It's all about the PA system.
Yes.
You got to have a good PA system.
I don't like going to games where they don't announce who scored a basket.
Me neither.
Sometimes my head's down and I missed it, and then you
Yeah.
turn and ask the person in the crowd, and they're like, Oh, I don't know. I missed it.
I'm just here. I got to clean up the gym after. I hope they hurry up. That guy. Don't ask that guy any questions.
Tim said he had to leave today at 2:45.
Yeah.
It's 2:37.
Remind me to change the battery in the clock up there. It's been wrong all year. It's been wrong for a while.
I
So,
got to go too. I got a meeting, an important meeting.
Kyle, I wish you guys the best of luck tonight and the rest of the season.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Is the Monsignor Martin Championships here, the state championship here, or would the
No,
winner go
Fordham.
down? Fordham, wow.
Yep. Next year they'll be here.
Okay.
Kyle, I
Very nice.
wish you a good game tonight, whichever way it goes. I just want to see a good game, so let's make it fun.
All right. Thanks.
Chad, always a pleasure.
Did you ask him about his exchange with Cooper? How's that going?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass him.
Embarrassing.
The fans want to know, will there be an embrace between you and Cooper at half court at some point during the game, after the game?
Half court?
Yeah.
Like center court.
Embrace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good game.
A hug? Bear hug.
Probably not a bear hug.
No?
Do each of the players have another player from the opposing team they have an exchange with?
No.
I think that should become a tradition.
If there is, I was not.
Are
I'm
you
not told there's going to be.
Are you guys going with your alternate jerseys today?
I think we're going with our grays.
I like those grays. I like
For
those
sure.
grays. Those are nice. Those are
Get
nice.
a graze.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Great having you in here.
Don't forget,
We know where
everybody,
we are now.
tune in to
Yeah.
WNY Athletics tonight on their YouTube page at 6:20. I'll put it on X. It's going to be awesome. Free, number 1 versus number 2. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Or you can go to the NFHS and watch girls wrestling.
So, as I said,
Tough call.
Have a good game.
all right, Center Court
Weekend.
Weekly.
See you
Thanks
next
for
week.
watching.